A warm welcome to you to our weekly Community of Practice Sunday check-in sections for half an hour of Dharma reflection and community connections. So if you are a new member of our community, please accept our wholehearted warm welcome to you. We will also welcome any questions if you have any regarding to the practices and topics, and we love to help. So this is customary for people in Australia to begin any meeting by acknowledging the traditional owners of our land. I would like to start today by acknowledging the Tarawa people as the traditional owners of the land on which Nantian Institute resides. I also acknowledge the traditional custodians of the various lands on which you all are, and I pay my respects to the elders in the past, present, and emerging. So the check-in sections have been developed by our communities of practice team and the entire community. The purpose of these sections is to develop a reflective practice in response to changes, guided by humanistic Buddhism. So we would like to cultivate our practices and to build memorable friendships. So last week, we had benefited a wonderful sharing on mindful movement. And today, we are grateful to have Joey Yeo to share with us about infinity. So let's welcome Joey to guide us for this section. Joey, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Joyce. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all. So let's start off with our usual mindful check-in and get ourselves be more aware of our present moment. With some deep breaths and a couple of minutes of breathing meditation, we'll attempt to get ourselves ready for today's session. With our first 2 deep breaths in and out, we relax every part of our body from head to toe. With the next 2 deep breaths in and out, we relax our mind and return to the present moment. With the final 2 deep breaths in and out, we turn our focus to our breathing. Every breath in is a reminder that our current consciousness is interconnected to everyone. Every breath out is a reminder that our actions, words, and thoughts are like ripples to others, and that we must be constantly be mindful of them. So let's remain aware of this for a minute or so. Whenever you're ready, gently open your eyes. I hope the short check-in session sets our mind directly into the space of infinity as we think about the 2 points. That the breath in is a reminder of our consciousness interconnected to everyone, and a breath out is a reminder that our actions, words, and thoughts are like ripples to others. So first of all, welcome to the second session of Giving Diamonds. The first session reminded us of the importance of strengthening our daily foundational practice, the needed routines, the needed balance to our bodies and minds, and in embracing the chant way of living. In this session, we look at the following paragraphs in chapter 3 of the Diamond Sutra, which is titled, The Heart of Mahayana. The Buddha said to Sabhuri, all great bodhisattvas should subdue their minds in the following manner. Of all sentient beings, be they born of eggs, wombs, moisture, or transformation, or whether they have form or no form, or whether they are able to perceive or do not perceive, or are neither able to perceive or not perceive, I cause them to enter nirvana without remainder, liberating them. Thus, by liberating infinite, innumerable, limitless sentient beings, in reality, no sentient beings are liberated. And why is this? Sabhuri, if a bodhisattva has the notion of a self, the notion of others, the notion of sentient beings, or the notion of longevity, then it is not a bodhisattva. I remember when I first read this quote to myself, I brought myself back to, in my imagination, to the days when Buddha was around on earth. The immediate question arose in my mind. How was Buddha then be able to describe the various types of reproduction? This made me infer that the Buddhas of all directions are no longer limited by the 5 senses and the corresponding consciousness. The mental consciousness must be spanning beyond the limited spatial dimensions and spanned into the infinity, and be constantly in resonance with the infinite sentient beings. But then, why did the Buddha say in reality no sentient beings are liberated? One, maybe because he does not want us to be caught in the act of liberating others, which at times might ignorantly reinforce our own ego. And maybe he wanted to remind us the fundamental nature in all of us, our Buddha nature, and that fundamentally we are awakened but temporarily lost, and that our Buddha nature does not differ from one another. So if our Buddha nature does not differ from one another, and that we are fundamentally awakened, are there ultimately any sentient beings being liberated? I recently found this quote by National Master Zhongfeng when I was preparing some slides for a U-Temple English study group. I find it simple yet profound in describing our intrinsic luminous mind. Let's read together. By National Master Zhongfeng, the mind is of several types. The physical mind is part of the body that we inherit from our parents. The conditioned mind creates distinctions between good and bad, and positive and negative in each moment. The spiritual mind is beyond worldly distinctions, is free from confusion and unchanging. This mind is luminous, preeminent, and unique. The spiritual mind is not greater in sages or lesser among ordinary people. In the ocean of birth and death, it is like a bright pearl that illuminates the sea. On the shore of nirvana, it is like a moon that hangs in the sky. The part on the spiritual mind is not greater in sages or lesser among ordinary people resonated with me and connected me to the second part of today's quote from the Diamond Sutra. If a bodhisattva has the notion of a self, the notion of others, the notion of sentient beings, or the notion of longevity, then he is not a bodhisattva. It reminded me to see beings through the lens of equality and equanimity, while diverse in our karmic inclinations and outcomes. It reminded me that this diversity of colors we see around us is occurring in the dimension of time, past, present, and future, driven by our bag of karmic seeds, while ultimately our Buddha nature does not differ from one another. It reminded me that the Bodhisattva path is not one that is limited by time, and that this path extends infinitely into the future, just like the missions of our role models and teachers, such as Amitabha Buddha, Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, Skittabha Bodhisattva, Shakyamuni Buddha, among infinite others. They all have infinite time across infinite lifespans, and how they have used their time, how they have contributed to sentient beings, how broad their compassion and wisdom are, all deserve our daily reflection, reminders, and constant practice and cultivation. So these are the brief diamonds I've received from this extract from the Sutra. I hope to use these diamonds wisely and gain through future experiences and importantly, the later interactions with all of you. And it's now time for us to share our individual reflections on these diamonds from the Diamond Sutra. And there's a question to facilitate the conversation that would be, how can we transcend the notion of self, notion of others, notion of sentient beings, or the notion of longevity or lifespan in our daily lives? Hi, welcome back. Hope that the diamonds are cutting our minds right now. I feel that it has pierced my mind a lot of time. It continues to pierce my mind. I'm open to that. Feel free now to share your punchlines or quotes into the chat group. Let's hear from everyone. Lai Chin, by different perspective, right view, inner reflections and insights, the message of connection with one another, oneness and coexistence, the practice of half-half world causes from imperfection. Yeah, and the word oneness reminds me of the theme song from this year's BRI World Conference, We Are One, the part. If you have not heard that, I will send the link after the discussion. I think our group also talked about interconnectedness quite a lot, and how that message of interconnectedness acts to remind us every day. And Chin Chin was sharing that these words have become like vitamins to our mind. Oh, I love that. There's no vitamins for the mind in the pharmacies right now. Maybe Diamond Sutra could be sold in the pharmacy, saying that this is the vitamins for the mind. Someone needs to take on this marketing strategy. Acknowledging non-self is the first step. Priscilla first. Paraphrasing a great person, we fix when we see others as broken, we help when we see others as weak, we serve when we can see equality and our independence. Oh no, that's really, really powerful. That's to be unpacked later on, okay, Priscilla? Phyllis, acknowledging non-self is the first step so that we can reflect on the rising of emotions attached to people and events. Fantastic acknowledging and reflection. I think that's really a good daily practice. Diamond Sutra pictures a true vision of liberation and freedom for one and all at the same time and space. Compassion flows naturally without our getting caught with the role of being compassionate. So Cecilia, let's talk about that later. That's really, to unpack that will take us a long time, but that's really, really good. So that's all for me. Let's get to the final stage, and so that we can keep the floor open with the conversation. Fantastic. So in the next session, we'll be talking about this quote of giving. And I'll not talk more about it. Priscilla will be able to share more. And over to Joyce to facilitate the dedication of merits.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Joey. So we really hope that the check-in section was useful to you, and we hope you experience the unconditional love and compassion from this community. So, but for anyone who might be experiencing a greater need than today could meet, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us, and you can also reach out to the professional organizations on the screen. So for next, today, we will have a review meeting later, right after the sections. So please stay with us, and all of you are welcome to the review meeting. So before end, let us recite and dedicate the merit together and send love and compassion to whoever it needs.
Let us now dedicate the goodness of what you have done to all living beings. May kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity pervade all worlds. May we cherish and build affinities to benefit all beings. May Chan, Pure Land, and precepts inspire equality and patience. May our gratitude and humility give rise to great vows.
So thank you everyone for joining us. So once again, thank you Joey for giving us a big diamond today. So which highlighting us that the Bodhisattva path has no limit on time and therefore infinity. So now we will have our usual post check-in discussions. So please stay around if you have time. Otherwise, see you all next week again at 11 on Sunday. So please join us for the review meeting later as well. So I wish you all have a wonderful week ahead. Thank you.